I am so grateful for our friends at Blue Microphones. Not only have they completely changed what our show sounds like, they've given me headphones so I can monitor things better. This is the mic for millions of creative people, and now I know why. I'm so grateful for them completely changing the quality of our audio. You'll find Blue mics like Yeti and the Mouse, which we're using here, both in pro studios and home studios, literally all over the world. Their popular Yeti caster is a Blue Yeti microphone plus a boom arm system that's behind many of your favorite podcasts. I run into them all the time, and now I know why. If you've ever thought about creating your own podcast or YouTube channel, Blue can make you sound and look great. Just visit bluemic.com and click Get Started, and you can start telling your story. As we're gradually moving back to opening schools and businesses and, of course, our in-person interactions, I want to remind you, this is all time with cold and flu season getting going. Staying hydrated is key to helping your body deal with the added stress and with the upcoming flu season. My regular fans have heard me talk about a product called Hydrolite for a long time now. It's an amazing rapid rehydration drink. It's a mix that, well, we're obsessed with here. I'm excited to announce they've just released Hydrolite Plus Immunity, just in time for cold and flu season. Hydrolite Plus Immunity starts with their fast-absorbing electrolytes and adds a host of immune-boosting ingredients. Each single-serve, easy-pour drink mix contains 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C and 300 milligrams of elderberry extract, creates what is hopefully immune-boosting formula that's high in antioxidants and zinc. Combining this with Hydrolite's 7 key electrolytes, it's a fantastic way to stay proactive and properly hydrated. Hydrolite Plus Immunity comes in convenient, easy-to-pour powder sticks that rapidly dissolve in water and make a great tasting drink that has 75% less sugar than your typical sports drink. It uses all natural flavors, and it is gluten-free, dairy-free, caffeine-free, non-GMO, and it is vegan. And you can find Hydrolite Plus by visiting hydrolite.com/Dr. Drew. Again, that's HYDRALYTE.com/DRDRW. And be sure to use our code Dr. Drew 25 at checkout for a special discount.
Hey, everyone. It's a dose of Dr. Drew.
Just struggling with TikTok, trying to put my first post up there.
Oh my God. You're doing a TikTok at the beginning of the show?
Jordan and I are working hard on trying to figure out how to use that platform. So keep an eye out there for that, as well as some new clips coming up on Instagram.
And thanks to our sponsors, Blue Mics, Hydrolite, iWand, and Halidine.
Dr. Fauci endorses the...
and Seed.
The iWand. You see he's using it right there. You can see where my finger is. That's Dr. Fauci's bobblehead. We are also going to work on our bobbleheads. Susan, I think you should have one as well. Well, you said you were going to look into it. So
we're looking into it. We have a locals fan who's setting it up. They called the company, and I guess we can do that. I just have to figure out distribution. I'm not going to package bobbleheads.
No.
I'm sorry.
Well,
I
really?
have my limits. I have
That's where
boundaries.
You draw the line.
Yes, I'm not into mailing.
Packaging, not having a bobblehead made of you, but packaging bobbleheads of me. That's where you draw the line. So the restream doesn't seem to be going here, Susan, for some reason.
It's going for me.
Okay, for some reason I don't see it. Oh, there we go.
Somebody
Andrew
just said, hello
is
from
there.
Colorado.
Andrew's in there. He needs a shirt. He needs a coffee mug, too, for the Rational Recovery. That's a great mug.
Well, you can buy those. They're on Tom Segura's website.
Yeah, Tom Segura says if he had a Susan bobblehead, it would make him creepy. Which
Creepy?
Kind of. Maybe not. I don't know. It depends. I don't want to say it. So let's get right to our guest, shall we?
Oh, it would make you creepy if he had
creepy.
a bobblehead of me.
Make him creepy.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot going on today out in the world, but I wanted to bring in an old friend from my HLN days who is now on Daily Blast Live. There she is, the anchor, and there she is. That is Sam Schacher. You can follow her at Daily Blast Live. And I think Susan spelled your name right there. I've seen it spelled a few times the last couple of days, Sam.
It took me a few tries.
Thanks for having me, Drew. We're reunited.
We are reunited. So Sam and I, Sam moved to Denver and now does the Daily Blast Live. So give them the layout of what time zone sees what.
So it depends because we are syndicated. So if you watch DBL or Daily Blast Live, it depends which city you're in. So I would advise you to go to dailyblastlive.com. You can go ahead and see when we air in your city. You can also watch us live every day on YouTube, on Facebook. We are always on. Literally, we're always on.
It is, something. When I come out there to do your shows, I sit down at like 11 o'clock, and it seems like I get up at like 3, right? And we do 4 different shows.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff.
But it's a great show. I hope people watch it. We have Drew on. We've had you on a number of times. He's a friend of our show, so maybe one day you'll get to see him there too.
And one of the last times I was on, I created a shitstorm by no, because I was thinking about it today. I was thinking, most of what I got some stuff wrong, but the one thing I kept saying, and it was really upsetting me, was I kept saying, listen to the CDC, listen to Dr. Fauci. They'll get you through this. Stop getting into the panic porn. We weren't calling it panic porn yet, but
it went viral.
That's what I was objecting to, and I got wrong. The ability of this illness to take out young people in not just kill, but not just mortality, but morbidity. It really is a tough illness, and its infectivity is pretty extraordinary as well. By the way, there is a new, here in Los Angeles, we just finally got a P1 case, which is one of the Brazilian strains, and that's the thing I don't want to get. Thank you very much. There is evidence that if you had Pfizer or Johnson & Johnson, you're pretty well protected against that. And we're unclear on people like me, whether those of us that had COVID. Have I talked to you since I was sick?
Yeah, you and I have talked. I mean, here's the thing, Dr. Drew. Every time I check in with you, it's not just one thing. It's a laundry list of things. I'm like, Dr. Drew, so A, how are you? How's Susan? How are the kids? And then it's all these other things, right, that's going on in our lives. But yeah, I know that you are technically a long hauler. I'm glad that you're feeling better. I also say too, Drew, to your point, back where you say, you got it wrong with COVID, that was back in February before everything
of
really
last
happened.
year. Of last year.
Yeah, of last year. So I just want people to hopefully take that into consideration, because this is a brand new virus. This is a brand new disease. And in February, we knew very little about it. And you're going to evolve your thinking as the disease and our learning evolves. So I just hope people understand that.
Right. It's called updating your priors. And people that don't update their priors, we call those politicians. And so, because they seem unable to adjust course, which is really kind of extraordinary. How are things in Colorado? Are you locked down there?
So we're not locked down. I haven't really been anywhere, but technically you can go to the tiers depend. Like right now, because we have our hospital bed situation isn't from what the last time our governor told us, it's not as bad. So they lowered restrictions a little bit, so people can go to restaurants, they can go get their hair done. It's not like Los Angeles. It's the lockdowns aren't nearly as strict. And, people are getting vaccinated left and right, which is a good thing. And I'm just waiting for my turn. I don't want to skip the line, but as soon as it's my turn, I will be vaccinated as well.
When is that likely? What's the sort of tier system you guys are using out there?
For lockdown?
No, I'm sorry, for the vaccines. Like, when are you likely to get vaccinated?
So it starts with, obviously, healthcare workers, doctors, frontline healthcare workers. Then it moves into more like grocery frontline workers, delivery drivers. And I think that's where we're at right now. Next, it goes into, certain age groups, as well as you're an essential journalist if you're going into a studio every day, and that's me. So I'll get in there. And then after that, it's open to the public. So
have they given a time frame for that?
I think by the end of March. So I'll be able to get, and I believe that I'm the place that I would be able to book an appointment with, they have the Johnson & Johnson. So that's great for me because I can get one shot, wait my couple of weeks, and then hopefully be vaccinated.
That's great.
That's the goal. And
be covered. You'll be amazed how great it feels to be, sort of, at least for me, it's a little unknown exactly what's going on in terms of the immunity. I'm measuring my own immunity with this very specialized platform. And it's we're going to actually be able to test for the variants too very soon, which will be very reassuring. I don't know if I'm ever going to need the vaccine. I don't know. It's very hard to tell. But let's get back to this illness and how it has.
You are if you want to travel.
Yeah, right. If I have to travel, Susan is insisting if I get on an international flight, I have to get the vaccine. So that's when I'll do it. Sorry.
I don't care if you have a reaction either.
So,
you're going to take one.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, my wife. Thank you.
We're going to get on a plane.
So
and to a foreign country.
To the point that this vaccine, I beg your pardon, this illness hits home. Obviously, I got hit. My son got hit. We all know somebody that got nailed. But you have a very dramatic story to tell us.
Yeah, my brother-in-law still is in the ICU in a medically induced coma. Eric is Eric's the type of person, he was in our wedding, Mark and I's wedding. He's not only a brother, a family, but a best friend. And he and my sister and their twins, they have 7-year-old twins, got it over the holidays, and they're very cautious.
How did they get it? How did they? How did they
got it over the holidays?
How did they get it?
Never in a million years did we think that our Eric, who's 51 years old, surfs, snowboards, as healthy as they come, doesn't smoke, rarely drinks. Like literally, you look at him, he's like a surfer snowboarder. Probably the strongest lungs out of our entire family, and here he is now. He's been intubated on a ventilator and on an ECMO machine since early January. So, we're doing everything in our power to bring him home to my sister and their kids, but the fact of the matter is, we're running out of options. So we're in a position right now, and I must be out of tears because I feel like every time I talk about this, it's hard to get the words out, but now we're in a position to do our best to find a team that can do a double COVID lung transplant. And that's difficult because, as you know, Dr. Drew, lung transplants alone, double lung transplants, are rare in the world, but a COVID, and when I say COVID, it's more COVID complications because he cleared his COVID load way back in January. He's so strong. In fact, the doctors say, Eric would make the perfect candidate. His organs are healthy. He's strong. He went into this healthy. So we are trying to find the right team because his current hospital does not do transplants. So we're trying to find the current team right now, and we're getting there. We're making progress. He's going to survive. I know he is.
Oh, good. Have there been many? I've read about a couple of them. Have there been many COVID lung transplants?
Not many. This is uncharted territory. And I think that's what's so hard about this. And that's why, I'm trying to, we're all advocating for Eric the best we know how. My sister, is a nurse. And so she's doing everything she can to try and help present his case with his doctors. Not only do I advocate for him daily, just, with my sisters and their team, but also all I can do is just, return he's a healthcare worker. So all I can do is return the favor to him and just talk about his story and hope and pray that someone sees it. And of course, we're doing everything we can. We're working with his doctors. We're presenting his case. We're going to the right institutions. We're doing everything in our power. But because it's so rare and because it's so unique, we're just hoping somehow the right team will find us while we're finding them. But there's been a handful in the world, and they've been successful. So it's just different. The lungs are different after having COVID, so it's an anomaly.
Oh yeah. So one of the questions you and I talked about offline was the risk of transporting him. How's that looking?
Yep. He's stable, and so that's why we're really capitalizing on it right now. So he's stable right now. He has no infections right now, and to any of the viewers or listeners, I should say, listening right now, that understand that when you have an organ transplant and you are in a very critical place like Eric, you shoot to the top of that list, but you have to be strong enough, you can't just say, oh yes, he's great, let's give him an organ transplant. He has to meet these protocols at each institution. Each institution's different. And they do that so they don't want to waste an organ. And I say that respectfully, but that's important to note. So they make sure that he's, to Dr. Drew's point, that he's strong enough to make the transport from Seattle to one of these universities that we're looking at. And then he has to be strong enough to endure the surgery and strong enough to endure the recovery. So
right, because they literally
marathon.
Literally don't
so
want to waste the lungs.
He is stable.
Because you got to remember, this is somebody's lungs being donated to somebody, and there's many people out there that need lungs, and you don't want to, squander something is the idea.
Exactly. So, and institutions have protocols for that. It's so they walk you through it. There's going to be some things we're going to have to do to some light PT to get Eric a little bit stronger, but at least he's stable right now, and at least his organs are healthy, and everyone we've talked to say he's the perfect candidate because he came into this so strong. So we're lucky.
And so people understand. Let's talk a little about his state. He is on extracorporeal oxygenation machine, so that they're oxygenating him without using a lung. It's like an external lung kind of function. It can only do so much. You need a certain amount from the lungs as well. And in the lungs, he probably has a tracheostomy, right? He's on a ventilator.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. He has a trach.
Yeah. And he is, lungs are stiff, so the pressures are up and they can't ventilate. And there's not a lot of air exchange because a lot of the lung is scarred up. That's what COVID does. But neurologically, he's good. He hasn't had any major, no clots, no brain injuries, just the usual COVID stuff and the usual ICU stuff, which is, you got to be on a sedative. They keep you on stuff for a long time.
That's exactly right. And I think we're having issues with this sedation. So, for Eric, they're trying to figure out that happy number, right? Because they want to neurologically thank God he responds to all his commands. Every time they lower the sedation, just that, so he can respond neurologically and they can do those tests. He is responding quite well. So neurologically, thank God he's doing well there. The sedation is tough though. And I talked to you about this, Dr. Drew, offline. What is that magic spot where, he's not agitated, but at the same time he's aware enough. And now that he has a trach and he's not on the vent isn't through his, what is it typically, your nose or your mouth?
Without the trach?
Yes.
But you when you're doing an emergency, you do it in the mouth. You would like to do it through the nose. It's not as uncomfortable for them while they have it in. And then
much more comfortable now that he's had that trach, because that was only a couple weeks ago. So for the first 6 weeks, when he was in the ICU, it was all in his nose or mouth. And now that he has the trach, not only is it going to help with preventing infection, as you know, but it's going to hopefully, he seems to be much more comfortable too.
Right. So again, the trach gives them access to be able to suck stuff out of the lungs, and stuff doesn't sort of surreptitiously get in quite the same way. And one of the things I was wondering about, kind of worrying about, was when they lighten up his sedation, is some of his flailing, the discomfort of his lungs not working right. Is that part of what's going on? Have they been able to communicate with him where he can answer those kinds of questions?
So we talk, any advocates listening right now or caretakers, my other sister and I are on the phone, I feel like 24/7, whether it's with his team or his nurses or just each other or doing our own personal research. And so what they say is he's been really tricky with the sedation because, when they do lower it, just that, and they want to when they trial him, right? And when you trial him, especially if we want to get him a little bit stronger, it's important to do this. So he does flail, he does thrash. That sounds so scary to hear, but they say that's a good thing because you said it too, Dr.
Way better than the alternative.
He wants to live.
Yeah, way better than the alternative. Trust me, because the alternative means that something's really injured. So this is and the great news is, as I think I've told you, he won't remember any of this. I talked to a guy on Friday. I talked to a guy on Friday who had spent 6 weeks on a ventilator, lost his fingers and some toes and stuff. And he the way he described it was, I went to sleep and then I woke up. I never made fingers when I woke up, and that was it. He was not distressed by the experience. And I got to tell you, there's something about COVID too. I'm looking back at when I was the most ill for about 2 weeks. It gets very vague. COVID screws with your memory and stuff. It's kind of weird. Yeah, it's very crazy.
Right. No, I'm relieved to hear that because, my sister, especially his wife, will call and sometimes, they'll say he opens her eyes with her and, tears will stream down his cheek. Mm-hmm. And even though that's a good thing, it just breaks your heart because you just know that he wants to be home with his 2 kids, and my sister and their 2 kids want, Eric back. And it's hard to hear those details, but I know, to your point, that the alternative is not good. And knowing that he won't remember any of this is a relief. Good.
So there's also an opportunity if people want to, two questions I have, and one's sort of a statement, which is if people want to support what's going on, there is a GoFundMe. Susan, did you put that up by any chance?
Eric's, Eric's really good friend, Monty, right when Eric got put on ECMO, and Dr. Drew described what ECMO is. And it's essentially, it buys you time, it's life support. And so when Eric went from the ventilator to ECMO, this is when all of us were like, oh my gosh, like we thought Eric would just be on the ventilator for a few days, and then that turned into 3 weeks, then it turned into ECMO. and the ventilator. And so Monty started a GoFundMe for on Eric's behalf. And I don't know the exact link, but I'm sure you guys will have a resource there. And not only is it there to, if people want to support, but more importantly, we always have updates every night, and we have prayer requests, and the outpouring of support has been enormous, and it has provided so much comfort and so much strength. So many people that have either gone through it or lost loved ones, and they're doing everything they can to just be there for us, as well as offer resources to different institutions. And it's been an absolute godsend. The amount of support that Eric has is incredible.
Good. And can you tell us the website again? I know Susan posted it on the Restream.
I know it's on GoFundMe, and then I believe it just says like support the Eric Dellenbach family.
Okay.
So if you were to search Eric Dellenbach, Dellenbach, it will pop up, and it tells you his story. It tells you everything that we're doing. It gives you his daily updates, and then our prayer requests. And let me tell you, I believe in the power of prayer more than anything. So
how's your sister doing?
My sister I can't even voice to you how hard it must be. Right now we feel like, okay, he's stable, but to anyone that knows, if you're in the ICU for a week or 6 weeks or 2 months now, it's those little fires that can turn into big fires. And so an infection can be devastating, or a pneumothorax can be devastating. That's Dr. Drew, tell them what a pneumothorax is.
A pneumothorax. So what happens is the lung gets so stiff that it actually blows like a bleb off a tire. It blows a hole in it, and then the lung. There's a potential space between the chest wall and the lung that fills with air, and the lung collapses. And the lung, of course, can't keep its expansion going because it's now communicating with a different kind of pressure, and so they have to put a chest tube in and suck the air out and all that good stuff. Yep. And he had a pleural.
Anytime we have infection, anytime his blood pressure goes down, anytime he needs more blood, it's you hope that it's not, and I know, Dr. Drew, when we talked, clots are very scary, and bleeds are very scary, and all those things, and we've been woken up, because my sister will call me. I'm on call for her in the middle of the night because she needs, support, because sometimes they'll have to call her and say, hey, can we give him this much blood? Or, hey, this happened. And it's just, you're in fight or flight constantly. My sister's on fight or flight constantly. And she's just, it's just surreal. I mean, like I said, if this could happen to Eric, the healthiest person in our family, this can happen to anyone. And I think my sister still to this day just can't believe that this is happening. She just wants him to come home. Her kids miss their daddy. They haven't physically talked to Eric since like January 6th because he's intubated and you're placed in that medically induced coma. Like, of course, my sister and the kids call him constantly every single day. They call him in the morning, they call him at night, and the nurse will put the phone up to him. But, he can't talk back. And so his kids, my niece and nephew, miss talking to their dad. And my sister misses her honey, and she's scared. But I tell you, Dr. Drew, like his doctors say, for him to have weathered everything he's weathered in the ICU, all the complications, everything with COVID, he has a great fighting chance. And I believe with everything in me, he's going to prevail.
Well, it sounds like he's certainly nice and stable right now, which it gives you that opportunity to buy some time to get the lungs
window,
in.
And we're capitalizing on it. We've made a lot of progress.
Which is my next question. Where are you having luck?
Oh, Sophie, honey, I'm doing
bring her in here. She certainly can come and talk to us now. Come on.
Daddy said I cannot eat stuff downstairs anymore.
Sophie, can you go downstairs with Dad, please?
I can't.
No, the answer
I'll
is,
get you a snack in a moment.
The answer is
Daddy
no, I can't.
Do you mind? I'm working.
Daddy
Sophie.
said no matter let you get it.
Sophie's crying.
That's a girl.
Okay, Daddy to the rescue.
Daddy.
Go ahead.
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay. Somebody wrote, "Does the child not know who Dr. Drew is?" I don't know why.
That sounds like Tom's.
Trying to
Yes,
that
Tom.
to a
It
three-year-old
had to be Tom Cigar. Guys like that. He has this. He
Yep,
has the best
that's-
sense of humor with stuff like that. So, yeah. So perfect.
The nerve.
But I forgot what your question was, Dr. Drew.
So my question is, if you're able to tell us where you're having some success, and is there any way we can all apply pressure?
Wow, that is a very generous statement. We have, I'm afraid to say there's 2 institutions that are phenomenal, but they're rivals. So I don't want to.
Okay, all right. So just leave it be. And
Yeah.
and if
And I
the
don't
time
listen.
comes,
I don't want to step on anyone's toes. We're
I get
doing
it.
everything possible. His doctors are doing everything possible.
all right. So you'll put up
couple
on
of
the.
months ago, I would have said yes, go for it. But luckily, Eric is such a good candidate that there are
Good.
people that are willing to
Great.
perform the procedure. And I believe that because he'll be a case study, I believe he'll end up saving so many lives.
Great. And so
Wow.
if people are following on the website, you'll post it there, I'm sure, if this thing's to be done. So we'll look for that. And yeah, you mentioned his organs are good. I mean, that's kind of, given how sick he's been, that's kind of extraordinary, right? Because with the cytokine storm, which is what takes out the lungs, usually takes out other organs along the way here too, liver, kidney. And so did he have that at one point? Usually they at least have it for a while.
Right. So every day, my other sister is an RN, and then her husband's an ICU nurse. So we're able to look at their labs every day. And when you're in the weeds of it, yes, you notice when the liver numbers spike, and then we'll find out it's because of certain medication. It's all ICU related or acute. His kidneys have also taken a hit because of the fact that they say dry lungs are happy lungs. So they're always stripping fluid from him. But despite all of that, he still remains in pretty good condition and still stable and still fighting. And they had to even switch out he's been on a pediatric tube for so long for his breathing. They had to switch that out to an adult tube recently.
Is he a small person?
Fighting.
Is he a small guy?
What's that?
I'm curious why the pediatric tracheostomy.
He was producing teeny, tiny tidal volumes, like 20,
oh, I see.
30, when in reality, I guess walking around would be like 400 or 500. And
600,
yeah,
600
he just was taking little breaths.
600 to 800.
Wow.
600 to 800.
Yeah.
So we have made, by the way, a short link to the GoFundMe. It's drdrew.com/Eric, ERIC. Thank you, Caleb. So we have that up now. Good.
All right, I'll do it.
You can put it on the restream here too. Well, listen, Sam. I mean, I
It's
get
nice to know that one of our producers is watching the show.
watching it and responding.
Hi, Caleb.
So are you done for the day, Sam?
Yes, I think. I mean, to be honest with you, when my work starts as a mom, that's the real work. And I know you and Susan know that after having 3 kids.
Is your work done?
Your time
How
out is at
dare
Daily
you.
Blast Live. I totally understand.
It's easier to go to work.
When I go to work in the morning, it's, I'm lucky. I have the best of both worlds. I go to work just for a few hours every day, and then I get to be with my kids the rest of the day. But for the few hours when I get to just focus on my work, it's for me personally, it's a much needed break. And it allows me to be a better mom when I come home, because I can be present at home and then I can be present at work. So, but then advocating for Eric 24/7 is a whole nother ball game. It's excruciating. It's excruciating being in the weeds and learning all the things that he's going through, because you feel it empathetically. Every little hiccup or sidestep or backstep is just excruciating. I just hope that everybody out there doesn't lower their guard. I know we're close. We got the vaccines, but I don't want anybody out there to go through what my family's going through. I know I'm being strong right now, but Dr. Drew, how many times do I cry about this constantly?
Yeah.
I think I'm all dried up. And so I don't want any family to go through this. I really, 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 really hope everyone just keeping their guard up right now.
Get your vaccine as soon as you can, and let's put this thing behind us. And then the boosters. I've been thinking a lot about boosters lately. I think the whole booster thing is going to be the next challenge. because
What's going to happen? What do you think's going to happen?
I think these variants are going to get in. They're going to take hold, and it depends on which vaccine you've had and what data they collect on it. But I think most people are going to need some kind of a booster, and I think that's going to be the next challenge, is now getting everybody boosted up. And it is pretty clear that I was just reading some data this morning that everyone's going to need a booster every year that adjusts for all the evolutionary changes of the virus. The virus evolves through mutation, and it that's somebody.
Oh, that's my phone.
That's Susan's phone.
Why is it ringing?
It's right on the microphone. That's pretty good.
No, that's good.
It's over there. I
not
see the light flashing.
It's
There we
so
go.
weird. It's not
Let
even
me say something a little more smart about the tidal volume. An exact calculation of a human tidal volume is 7 cc's per kilogram. So the average person is about 70 kilograms or so. So 500 is probably a little closer to a true reading. True. I know that back in the day we used to use 600 to 800 though, an awful lot of the time. And part of that was we did things a little differently then. We did more volume-related ventilation than pressure-related ventilation. I know you've learned all about pressure ventilation now. Yeah, where they
That's on to help preserve the lungs, right?
So you set the pressure that pushes in, that expands the lungs, but you don't want to get the pressure pushing into going so high that you damage the lungs. So high levels of oxygen, like 100% oxygen flow in, and high pressures both damage the lung. And that's kind of the trick with mechanical ventilation. You're trying to support somebody without hurting them. And COVID immediately makes the lungs stiff. So you're always dealing with high pressures. It also, because of the acute respiratory distress syndrome, you probably call it ARDS out there in the ICU, right?
That's what he has.
ARDS is alveolar filling, and so the alveoli don't exchange oxygen normally, and it's quite a thing. And with COVID, the ARDS has been a little bit atypical. It's not been like usual ARDS. In fact, they were even wondering at one point if it was ARDS, but it does seem to be.
Joshua Dylan Barzell wants to reach out to Sam. I think he's a big fan of yours.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah. I know. He's like, I want to call in and talk to Sam right now.
Indeed.
I know.
Well, the only way we could do that is if we set up a club.
No, we don't. We can't take calls.
So one of the things we do is we set up, we'll sometimes go out on Clubhouse.
Have you been on there yet?
Sam, you been on Clubhouse?
On there yet? I've heard about it though.
Yeah, so and you can take calls, and so we just put the calls on the microphone, and then we stream
Or
them out.
we also have call capabilities, but not today. I'm sorry.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, well, listen, Sam, I don't want to take you too much from your family. I know you've got to get a snack for your daughter.
They're so.
Hear her? She was like crying.
I want to see all the kids before you go. I want to get them on the camera.
You want them on the camera?
Cute. Everybody needs to see how hard working this.
Right now.
Yeah,
Too bad,
this is
Susan, you lose.
one of the hardest working women.
Sophie, by the way, when she came here, thank goodness I kept her from camera because she didn't have any clothes on.
I know, she didn't have any pants on earlier. So. Oh, did you take her shirt off too?
Yeah.
Right.
Miles may be taking a nap now. He's upstairs.
That's a normal kid thing, okay? There's nothing worried about that. She's so cute.
Yeah. Well, not in this day and age, because people. You don't want to know what they do.
So when my kids went to preschool, they used to take their shoes off when they came in the house, So when they went to preschool, there were like 3 of them, and they called me from the school, and they said, could you teach your kids how to wear their shoes in the house? Because they get to school, they take off their shoes, and then the whole class takes off their shoes, and then we spent an hour putting everybody's shoes back on.
And here you're trying to teach your children to do the right thing. And it backfires.
Is preschool or anything in order for your kids? Are they able to go back and do stuff with other kids?
Sophie and Miles?
Yeah.
So Miles is a pandemic baby. He was born on March 11th, which in America I feel like was like the start of the pandemic.
You're right.
So Miles, I feel like probably has stranger danger. We haven't done anything. I mean, we go on walks. We go to parks that aren't busy. But I don't go to stores still. I don't go to restaurants, especially given everything that's happened in my family. Now I'm even more hypervigilant since December, January, because I see my poor brother-in-law is still fighting for his life. So yeah. And then Sophie, thank goodness, when I go to work, I have a sitter that's been with us for 3 years now, and she is a little kid. So thank goodness Sophie has socialization through her kid, but Sophie starts school in the fall. So I think everything will be normal by then. I'm excited for her.
Good. One of the things that pisses me off about your brother's story is that my peers did not get aggressive when it started getting ahead of them. And this drives me insane. As a patient, I had that feeling of, oh, this disease is progressing. This is getting worse. We need to do stuff. And the fact that my peers have taken this ossified position of, just if you could drop it into the 80s, we'll take you to the hospital. And then it's what they even do there is a kind of a mishmash, depending on which hospital you go to. Is that what happened here? That they just waited until they started?
I don't talk too much about it, just because Eric's still.
Yeah. Let me just ask this: they were waiting for him to desaturate, and I'm sure that's what they did. And then when he goes to the hospital, at least at that point did he get decent? Did they start to get with it a little bit?
So Eric, was sent to Eric took himself to the ER because his oxygen was so low.
Mm-hmm.
And all I know is that he came home, and that night is when he was rushed to the ER in an ambulance after being
sent home
from the ER. So
it drives me
and then
crazy.
From that point forward, we all advocated to throw the kitchen sink just because we were nervous. And
of course,
the team at the previous hospital was just much more conservative.
How long had he been sick at that point before he was rushed to the hospital?
From how long from the ER?
No. From how long had he been sick with COVID before he ended up being ambulance transported to the hospital?
I would say
a week, 10 days?
Maybe day 4.
4 days.
Day 4 is when day 5, and day 4 is when, and then he required oxygen, and then it went from 2 liters to 4 liters to 40 liters, and that's when they intubated him.
In the hospital. So that all happened in the hospital.
Yeah.
And did you say he's a healthcare worker?
Yeah, he's a healthcare worker. His wife, my sister's a healthcare worker, and then my other sister and her husband are healthcare workers. They're all healthcare workers.
And you said so he knew because he was desaturating so badly he needed to go to the ER, right? That's why he went.
Yes. Yeah, he had a what do you call
digital
O2 meters?
Digital O2 monitor. Yeah.
Yep. O2
well,
monitor.
I got to say, if it really was 4 days, I can't be as critical as I might be if it were like 7 to 10 days, because the first 4 days it is a little screwy and it's difficult to tell what's the matter.
He had no comorbidities then,
right? But he's 50s. People in their 50s can get into trouble.
Yeah.
Though not likely. It's like less than 1%.
And I think that's the point too. Is he doesn't look. I mean, he looks 40. He looks 35 because he's so healthy. So I think too, he goes in there, and just when you know Eric, you don't see Eric as a high risk category or somebody that's going to get hit this hard. I think it surprised everybody, but I think that should be a cautionary tale to everybody that this too could happen to you or your loved one, considering that, again, Eric has no health problems, no issues.
Look
and
how
it ain't over
him.
yet.
It's the screwy thing about this illness. But I would argue that, I don't know. I just think we could do better as my profession. That's all. I just think there's a lot of aggressive stuff we could do. There's going to be an antiviral very soon. Merck is on the eve of something really pretty amazing. I've read their materials. They're very circumspect about it. Like, got to get our phase 3 done. We can't say anything. I don't know. I just think we could do.
Sorry, that's me.
And that would only work for COVID, right?
COVID,
so if you have COVID complications, that would not work.
No, it's for early COVID. It's to prevent the what follows. So, what follows is the crazy part of this thing. It really is so crazy. Was he put on steroids at any point in the beginning?
Was he what?
Put on steroids in the beginning?
I don't remember at this point, but I know he's definitely been on steroids. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't remember when they did steroids with him. It's like now that I look, it's been a fog for 2 months.
I know.
And we're in the weeds. And I know they recommend, try not to get in the weeds in the ICU because it's better to look at things big picture. But because we're advocating for him so hard and because of the experience in healthcare that my family has, I don't remember. Everything just is blurred together.
I know. I get it.
Completely blurred together.
I understand.
But his team now has done everything and they're incredible. It's just the fact that, they don't do transplants. So we're at the point where we have this very healthy guy, other than his lungs, not able to go home to my sister and his kids. And we're not going to take him off life support. Obviously, if he was not neurologically there, or if he had other organs failing and he wasn't a candidate for transplant, that'd be a different situation. But luckily, fortunately, that's not our situation. So we're going to get Eric new lungs, and I mark my word, Dr. Drew, he's going to prevail. I know it with everything.
Well, it is sounding better than the last time we talked, I have to tell you.
Yeah.
Just the fact that he is
much
stabilized.
stable.
Yeah. Yeah, because last time it was still, things were sort of moving. The problem now, let me be direct with you, is time is of the essence.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because you can all of a sudden not be stable, and you don't want to give this thing a chance for that to happen.
In the ICU, we've seen it.
Yeah, and the more
we're close though. We are very, very close.
I'm sure you'll put it on the website, but when can we look forward? When do you think there's going to be good news? Give me a hint. Like, if you're a betting woman.
I hope tomorrow or the next day.
Great. Oh my God, that's great. You gave me chills. That's great.
Or the next day.
That is huge.
Worst case, end of week, but I don't see it. I don't see having to wait any longer than that. And that's not only because of his team, but that's because of my sister, myself, and my other sister. We are insane advocates. We do not give up. We do not.
Well, it's interesting. I'm right now. I'm right here responding to someone that Miss Dunn says, my dad's friends in the UK. He's on life support over 4 months. COVID, ventilator, etc. A kidney failure. Blah blah blah. But he started getting better, and so this is what has made COVID different. COVID takes young people into the ICU, and we can really do a lot in terms of keeping people alive in the ICU while they heal, and hopefully while the doctors treat the COVID, which again, that's what I'm being a little critical about. But for a 90-year-old, you might back off on some of that stuff, but a 50-year-old, you can keep going.
When are 50-year-olds going to get their vaccines? That's what I want to know.
Well, Sam's going to get it in 2 weeks, right? You're
Well,
not even.
Yeah, because for me, they allow like frontline journalists, they call it, people that have to go into a studio. So, and then I believe for us, it opens up to everybody in April. So, or April or May. Everybody should be vaccinated by May here.
What's the age cutoff now for California?
I think, I'm not in the category, but I think if you're
high risk,
older and high risk, maybe 50 and older. They may have updated it because I know Governor Polis came on Friday with some new updates, so maybe they updated it.
Of course, California is a million miles behind everywhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah, my daughter got it. So, she's an educator.
You just got to get through this, and I just want everybody listening to just be hyper vigilant. If you're not vaccinated, make sure your family members are hyper vigilant, because we're so close, and I don't want to see anybody else suffering.
I want to be a vaccine chaser.
Horrible.
I'm going to start working on that.
I've been advising people just today about how to go after the excess vaccines at the end of the day. That's about all you can do in California. All right, so Sam, I know you gotta get to the kids. I keep
45 minutes. We told her.
Yeah, 45 minutes. Good. All right. Well, that's what I'll do. We'll look for you at Daily Blast.
We want you to come back soon.
Yeah.
Keep us updated.
Good news, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna share good news about Eric.
And we'll
I feel it, and
we'll get the phone lines. We'll get the phone lines going so you can talk
He's
to
gonna be one
Joshua.
of the pioneers of this surgery.
Susan, say that again.
We're gonna get phone lines up so you can talk to Joshua.
Yes, of course, Joshua. I look forward to talking to you. And just everybody out there, if you believe in the power of prayer, pray. And if you believe more in affirmation, the more affirmations of envisioning Eric healing, I greatly appreciate it. I have so much sympathy for any of you out there that are also going through this. Trust me. You can hit me up on Instagram, Facebook at Sam Schacher, and I'll write back to you. I had a few other people write me saying that their loved ones are in the same position, and the support has been life-saving. So I hope I can be a support group for someone else that's going through something similar.
Nice. That's nice, Sam.
We need a collective consciousness here.
Yes, please.
Yeah. And I'm sure the DBL guys have all been all over this for you. Right.
It's making me cry. Gosh, darn it. I miss you, Sam. You're so good. You're such a good human. I miss you guys being together, and it's been really good to see you again. And I see that.
I know. I miss you and Susan. I miss going out with you guys. And I just, my life feels like it's on pause right now.
Yeah.
Well,
And
it is for everybody, you
Press
know.
play again.
But
when
you know
Eric's
what?
better.
The message that I want everybody to take away is that we're not through this yet. I know that, restaurants are opening. Everybody needs to wear a mask. Try not to, if you think you're above the law, the COVID law, you're not necessarily. This could happen to you. And being reckless or silly about it's not the time.
Well,
so,
I'm starting to get a little worried about the variants. That's the thing that's bugging me. I just feel like we're going to be dealing with that, unfortunately. So,
yeah, everybody stay hyper vigilant. And I just thank you for giving me the platform to share Eric's story and to have that collective consciousness, as Susan said, to just envision good thoughts, positive thoughts. And I can't wait to share good news with you guys all. I know Eric's going to.
Part of that will be you getting vaccinated. So, all right, Sam, thanks again. And we'll talk very soon. Okay.
I love you guys.
Bye,
Thank you.
kiss the babies and Mark for me.
Bye.
And Mark. So let's see, I'm staying out here, Susan.
Yeah, I can't, for some reason.
So
I can't move any of the things, so we just have to stay on this page.
That's
Leanne.
fine. That's
I
fine.
can't take her name off either.
It's all good. Don't
It's
worry.
freezing up, but
Don't you worry.
It didn't totally go out, but the stream is still there. And her name has
Writer
to
is
sit
saying
at the
smart
bottom.
word, Susan's don't think it's over, but it's better. I mean, we should feel confident that it's going to be a lot better. But
there won't be as much spread, but so Drew got sick on Christmas Day. He didn't test positive for 4 days because it was a weekend. We had to wait till Monday,
No, I was tested on Friday.
No, you got tested on Friday and you were negative, and then on Monday you were tested and you were positive. But you started taking the medications right away because you said, what the hell, I might as well. I can't take the risk of it being COVID, and then 3 days into it, after my next COVID test, I'm in the hospital.
That's true.
And a lot of people have been turned away from the hospital.
And by Monday, as soon as I converted, we started working on the bamlanivimab.
Right.
And I went on the steroids by that point because I was getting bad.
But if you hadn't done that, God knows where you would be. But we also, we have the ability, because you're a doctor, and Dr. Zelenka called you, and Dr. Yo called you, and Dr. Denham called you, and everybody was on your case. But I just think that when people let it go a week, those are the bad stories you find out. I know. And it's really weird because it could just go down the toilet in 3 days. You could be just so sick like this, you need a new set of lungs. Like, that's the crazy thing about this
I know
so-called flu,
I felt it going. I felt it happening to me, and I'm still having brain stuff from it. I'm still concerned about that.
And I mean, I'm so excited to get back into the real world again, but this story really touched me, and I thought, oh gosh, we don't want to give any false hope that now that the vaccine's out there, you can go back
there's
out.
Hope. No. There's high probability. Listen, my anxiety may be just that. It may not bear out in real terms.
Yeah, but you're afraid of getting the variant,
Right. I mean, maybe that's why I'm a little more sort of tuned into that piece of the story. But be that as it may, we are doing remarkably well. The numbers are extraordinarily good. And I just share Dr. Fauci's nervousness about the variants and things taking hold. That's all. No, I'm not taking prophylactic bear hug because I have had the illness.
Yeah, he still has
I'm what I'm doing is checking my immune profile on a regular basis. I'm doing this thing called Advocacy score that you can get at easy testing. I don't know what the price is. I work for this company. But they've been kindly checking mine every 3 to 4 weeks, and my levels of antibodies have been way above vaccine levels, way above, and to multiple antigens, not just the spike protein. And there is some data that had come out in the last couple of days that suggests people that had a moderate to severe COVID may have some real immunity against the variants. Now, mostly we're talking about the B1117. The B1351 is the one I'm worried about because that's the one that has a more severe illness associated with it, can really potentially get around everything.
Somebody wants to know if you can update on Poland.
I don't know.
I heard from my Polish housekeeper that it's bad.
I know,
and they're locking everybody down.
Yeah. Dr. Campbell, the nurse I follow on YouTube, is angry because EU wants to get vaccines going outside of the UK. Shutdowns are again. Yeah, you got to get the vaccine going. And that's the reason we're doing well here, because a lot of people have had this thing and a lot of people have been vaccinated.
Well, we probably we have the vaccines, and what they said in December was, even if we have all the vaccines, we're not going to have everybody vaccinated until April, because it's manpower and it's time if you have this many.
Andrew Ashkazvili said something very interesting, and I want to ask him a question here. Andrew, so he said on the restream here, if the Merck drug comes out, that will be the end of this pandemic. I agree with you. That's what it looks like to me. So my question to you, Andrew, is why aren't they going for an EUA? It seems like they're going for a more traditional confirmation or traditional FDA approval. Why not an EUA? Why are they being so circumspect about the results, which look astonishing to me? What is going on out there, Andrew? Tell me if you know something that I don't know. To me, that drug may be the hope for this thing. You know, if the variants come around, who cares if we have an effective antiviral?
Right.
So I'm looking for Andrew Ashkazvili. See if he answers it here. He's probably writing. In any event, tell them about who's coming this week, Susan.
Oh, okay. Let's see if I can change this. Something froze up in
You
here.
can just say it.
If we can make it through the whole show without it crashing. But anyways, Eliza Blue is coming on Thursday, and then we're gonna book a couple people tomorrow and Wednesday, but I don't know who it is yet.
I heard that Dr.
Don't say it yet, because I don't know.
Well, I know he's coming. Dr. Alan Shore was one of my heroes. May be available this week, so that would be very interesting.
And then
so
I
totally
think
non-COVID.
we just got a confirmation for March 31st for your buddy. God, I'm having a brain fart.
Yes, Leah.
Sorry. The guy who ran for president.
Guy who ran for president.
Doctor Homeless. Dr.
Ben Carson.
Sorry, I
Dr.
can't
Homeless.
remember his name.
Dr. Ben Carson is my buddy. Thank you for describing him that way.
Yeah, so he's going to come on the 31st. He just said yes.
Good.
The 31st.
So that's Secretary Ben Carson. I think is how he likes to be called. I think, but he's also a neurosurgeon, of course. Everyone I think knows that. Andrew Ashkazvili, I see what you're saying, that they want to build confidence, but can't they go for EUA and a more traditional route? I mean, it's an antiviral very similar to Tamiflu. It doesn't have a lot of side effects or anything. I just don't understand why they're not rushing to market with it, at least on an EUA. I guess this has been the fallout of hydroxychloroquine, everybody. We have a really good drug out there, and people are afraid to push it out for fear that they might see something, not so great about the intervention and be called out, the way anyone who supported hydroxychloroquine was. I hope we are through that. My God, I hope we are through all that nonsense. Okay. Yes, so much of all that was Trump derangement, and I hope people that have that are settling down now, so we can start to.
I got pitched an idea by
again.
Ori at Locals to have somebody on that is a therapist for families who have Trump derangement.
That's hysterical
syndrome.
What do you guys think about that for this stream? I feel like that should go more to the Dr. Drew podcast. You know what I mean? I would like to talk to her. That's so funny.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
She goes, "Oh, I have this idea."
If she wants to do it here, we'll do it here. I think we could do it at the Dr. Drew podcast, though. All right, Andrew Ashkazvili, I'm going to count on you. He says the next month or two, that drug may be out with an EUA. God help you. I hope you are right. Because then the variant thing becomes a much,
let's have a
much
collective
lesser issue.
consciousness and get that together.
Yeah, let's get Sam's
Everybody
brother-in-law
pray.
well. Let's get that
pray.
antiviral set up from the Merck organization, and concerned about New York City variant and the vaccine effectiveness. Yes, George Clark, we are all concerned about that. We are concerned about it. It's going to be okay. It may not be great, and that's concerning. All right, let's kind of wrap things up
Lots
here,
of
Susan.
Brazilians there.
Yeah. Anything else, Susan, before I kind of wrap it up? Let me see if I have any numbers
I
on
don't know,
stuff.
honey. What else do you
Joe
want?
Giannotti is very kindly keeping up on the graphics.
He wants to be the new COVID tracking system.
He's going to do it. He's going to do it with a guy from an attorney. Let me get the guy's name because he wants me always to give the guy credit. This attorney that collects all the data, and then Joe puts it out on a graph form. The guy's name is The Lawyer Craig, at The Lawyer Craig. And he is the guy. I think that's the guy. That's the guy I think I was talking. No, I don't know. There's some guy that was interesting to me that I wanted to interview on this thread, on this stream, and now I can't find him anymore.
So everybody share if you care, and help us, spread the word that this is a great show.
Yeah, we appreciate it. We got to get the word out a little bit. We're going to start trying to put clips out on Instagram and TikTok. I just did the first TikTok just before. Ooh, here's a good one. Novavax, which is a vaccine that I think is quite interesting. It's nanoproteins that have been put into a lipoid envelope. 86% against coronavirus and 96% against the original coronavirus and 86% against the British variant. That's the 1117. So that is good news as well. So good. Let's leave on a good note. That just out on my communication from a medical journal. So good. And let's us all move forward and look forward to, not being heedless, but looking forward to getting our lives back. So
Paulina's imposter said you look sexy, Dr. Drew.
Paulina's imposter?
Yeah, Dr. Pualani Leolani
yeah.
Kekulalene.
Yeah. That sounds like somebody.
That was
Hawaii.
Paulina's nickname for herself when she went to Hawaii.
Oh,
remember she was saying somebody had it. I thought it was her, and then
interesting.
I don't think she would tell you.
No, I don't think
you're
so.
Sexy.
He
is sexy.
Wait. What is this? 63% effectiveness for virus.
We went out to dinner last night, though. It was really fun.
I know, and maybe even tonight, and maybe even tomorrow night.
I know. I want to do it every day.
Oh, Ami would be good for this thread. Ami Horowitz.
Yeah.
He's going to have dinner with us tomorrow night. Maybe he can come and sit next to me.
Are we going to dinner tomorrow night with
That's
him?
the plan.
Oh, I'm invited?
You were invited.
Oh, cool.
That's what I've sent the word out.
This is my
to
week because next week I'm going to be out of it.
Good times.
But yeah, I'm wearing a mask though. And I'm being careful.
Yes, we are wanting to support. We went out on Saturday night and
we're supporting our local.
Yeah,
businesses.
Pasadena was vibrating with activity. It was kind of crazy, but it was all being done.
Last night was pretty quiet, but
when we were in a different part of town. To be
Saturday was fun.
Yeah, and
we took the kids. They don't get out much. Anthony wants to know what my most challenging time was when you were ill.
Oh.
Can I be honest?
Sure.
I didn't have sex for 2 weeks.
Yes, she was worried about herself. It was not. She has not got the nursing instinct or caretaking,
I didn't like seeing
gene.
you that way. It was the challenging part was staying away from you as far as I could and not.
Yeah, that was difficult because you were relegated to this back part of the house.
I mean, it was quiet.
Once I passed the 10 days,
I didn't have a TV, but it was okay. And my son was in the other side of the house, so like I would have to run from one end of the house to the other. And I was happy to do it. I just didn't, it was sort of like the housekeeper couldn't come for 2 weeks. I had to take care of the house, I had to take care of the dogs, had to take care of the 2 sick people, and just make sure that they were getting their medications on time and they weren't taking too many. They were, getting like Jordan needed some Dimetap. He's like, oh, he had a runny nose. I'm like, take some. I mean, I'm a good nurse. I raised 3 kids. I'm good at it. But it was like I felt like I was raising kids again. It wasn't.
You're good to your kids. You don't like taking care of husbands.
I wasn't. I'm not.
It's okay. I accept that. It's
no,
all right.
Usually when you get sick, I get away from you because I don't want to get sick.
Which
That's why I never
get sick. I did not want you around this. I did not want you around this.
But when in the old days when people got sick and you didn't have an iPhone, so you could text them and say, I need some potato pancakes or a piece of beef or some peanut butter. He had specific nutritional needs.
Eat certain things. It was weird.
And then I gave him diverticulitis with my my caraway seed potato pancakes, sauerkraut potato pancakes, which actually cures everything, by the way.
Except gives me. Say, hey, LG Health and Beauty is shouting out to me Piace, which is where we were on Friday, Saturday night.
We were there Saturday. Yeah, that was good. And it was everything's outdoors. They were very happy to be serving us, and the whole community was rallying behind.
So I want you to know that Tom Cigar fully endorses your approach to nursing a husband. Here's what he says: treat a man like a baby, and he becomes a man-sized baby.
Well, I knew when he got sick. I mean, I very seldom lean over and feel his head for random reasons. I don't know, maybe I'm psychic, but I had a dream the night before that Oh no, I woke up in the middle of the night singing the 12 Days of COVID. I popped up and I sang the hydroxychloroquine
Oh,
portion.
that's true.
And Drew goes, it was so weird. You woke up and I said, maybe I'm channeling my dead mother, telling me you're sick. So
She
I go,
literally says hydroxychloroquine in the middle of the night. In the middle of the night. Wonder why I didn't sleep that night.
well, oh my God. And so I don't know, maybe I just felt like he was sick, I had an instinct. So go with your instincts whenever somebody's sick in your family and, just look for the warning signs, and especially with COVID, and get them help immediately. Don't let it go a week or two. Bad idea.
Hey, Dawn Break, I'm not sure that raccoon is sleeping. Be careful. It might be sick or something because it's in his trash can. That's not where they go during the day.
What?
They go down. They go into ground, into the storm drains, things like that. Yes, Wendy, those lyrics were
that's
amazing
sad.
from Susan's 12 Days of COVID.
I would call the animal control people
Maybe,
and
if
have them
it's-
come out and make sure it's not suffering.
Yeah. Okay, you guys, we're going to, I wanted to end on a positive note, but the drunk uncle
What a-
routine kept
what
going
a-
long enough.
What a great ending.
Yeah.
Dead raccoon.
So Cindy Holtzman says COVID-19 long hauler advocacy project. And Cindy, check with Dr. Yo on that. Yo, Y-O, doctor, full word spelled out. Yo, Dr. Yo. Some really good data on fluvoxamine and VEGF. VEGF is a cytokine mediator in the brain. You look it up, it's capital VEGF, VEGF.
I miss Dr. Yo. He never comes around anymore.
Well, maybe we got to get him back in here to talk about the project and what they're finding. Just do a little update. So maybe we can do that tomorrow. All right.
I'm sure in his free time.
And Joe is sending me Phil Kerpen stuff. Phil might be another one to check in with too. Actually, kind of a lot of interesting data out there. GSR Savage, you feel better when we shout out to you? Then if that's all it takes, we shall shout out to you.
Hi,
Dr.
GSR.
Scott Gottlieb, I'm not sure. George, what we talked to him about? So I want to avoid VEGF for the winning. Yeah, I think so. Writer. And that's fluvoxamine and Prozac that really affect that VEGF system.
What's that?
It's it's the sigma-1 receptor is a neurological anti-inflammatory system that affects VEGF, which is found to be altered in post-long-haul COVID, or what Dr. Fauci now called post-acute PACS, post-acute sequelae.
If you
COVID,
can't
PASC.
remember it, geez, how are we
It was not a
supposed
great
to-
acronym. PASC, post-acute COVID sequelae COVID, PASC. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you tomorrow around this time.
Bye.
This pandemic began, we were not sure how it spread. Everyone began wearing masks and using hand sanitizers. Great ways to slow the spread, but a lot of people still get sick. I can personally attest to that. We now know that COVID-19 spreads via aerosols and droplets from the nose and mouth, and I've been thinking about this for a while. Why aren't we also sanitizing the nose and mouth, killing the virus directly at the place where it spreads? Why weren't more doctors thinking about this? Well, some doctors have done the research. Wish I discovered it sooner. That's why I'm excited to tell you about Halidine. It's an FDA-registered antiseptic for the nose and mouth that's proven to eliminate 99.99% of the virus that causes COVID-19 in just 15 seconds. That's right. It's created by a team of clinicians with decades of experience in antiviral treatments, initially created to protect healthcare workers. These are smart scientists, and it's a great product that also eliminates many other viruses and infecting particles. I'm using both their nasal antiseptic swab and their oral spray to help protect those around me, and you should be too. For others and for yourself. Whether you're hopping on a 3-hour flight, always use it there, visiting grandparents, or attending a meeting that you can't miss, Halidine's family of oral and nasal antiseptics give you the safe, easy, on-the-go antiviral protection for up to 4 hours. I encourage you to try Halidine at halidine.com today. My listeners get 10% off with the discount code Dr. Drew. That is HALODINE.com, discount code DRDREW. So obvious. It just makes sense. Stop the virus before it spreads and gets in your body with Halidine. I've struggled with various digestive issues over the years, so gut health is extremely important to me. Now, while gut health awareness has increased, it has led to a wellness trend that inspired a host of kind of questionable marketing claims and even false claims. You've seen the word probiotic attached to all kinds of supplements, drinks, and more, and they may claim to deliver the healthy microorganisms our guts need for proper function, but all too often the promises are really too good to be true. Thankfully, I became aware of a company called Seed and their flagship product, the Daily Synbiotic. That's right. Seed's Daily Symbiotic offers 24 clinically researched strains of microorganisms in a single dose. These strains support gut, skin, and heart health and promotes regularity, sometimes within as little as 24 to 48 hours. To me, what really sets Seed's Daily Symbiotic apart is its delivery system. This is my supply. While some products may offer the right strains, they are fragile and they rarely survive the trip through your gut. Seed uses a capsule-in-capsule design that helps ensure that 100% of the probiotics reach your colon where they matter most. Now, I've been taking Seed's Daily Symbiotic, and I encourage you to check out their story and the science behind what they do. To try it for yourself, just go to seed.com/Dr. Drew. Use code Dr. Drew for 20% off your first month of Daily Symbiotic. That is seed.com/Dr. Drew. Use code DRDREW, Dr. Drew.